Hello gang, I'm Colonel Failure, and this is Frostpunk, the happy-go-lucky game that is to city builders what tough mudding is to jogging. Basically, a bunch of hardy-going individuals have decided to do away with the convenience of modern living and set themselves up in the frozen north instead. They're tough, they're ruthless, they're all wearing all kinds of garb. Anyway, we're going to help them out in their snowy wonderland, where they're going to try and set up a ski centre and maybe a luge for those who really fancy getting the most out of this snow-themed theme park and wonderland. So here we are at Disneyland Siberia, and the first thing we need to do is to power up the happiness generator in the middle there, and to do that we're going to go and get some coal, because there is all of this leftover coal after everybody else has gone environmentally friendly, and frankly we're keeping that spirit alive. We're renewing old traditions in order to make sure that everything is absolutely glorious. While these chaps out here, that look at them, I mean, I would be amazed if one of them didn't start building a snowman and maybe have a little snow fort around here somewhere as well. But also we'll head out and we'll send some other people out to collect all these wooden crates, because you're going to need a toboggan. We've got some terrific hills here that frankly, I mean, if you're not sledging down them, you really are doing it wrong. So we're going to get that on the go as quickly as possible. Now, I've got 80 happy-go-lucky holiday makers at the moment, and they're they're just standing around, singing songs. Look, that one's doing a little dance. That's lovely. But I'm gonna help them to help themselves by grabbing a few bits and pieces that may just help everything be just that bit more special. So we'll send some people out to go and get this steel wreckage and bring that into the fold. And there's some wood that's certain to be useful. We're going to send basically everybody out to work, if at all possible, to get things going as they merrily make their way through the deep snow. I don't know about you, but I really like some deep snow. Regular snow is all well and good until it starts to get slushy. Then it's a bit disappointing. The good news about this holiday environment is it never gets shallow. The snow manages to stay full depth all the time, which means that whenever you're taken for an impromptu snowball fight, there is always plenty of ammunition waiting. So it's the end of the working day for the first day here at Frostpunk Villas, and the work is ongoing on the disco end tent, and we're hoping to get that set up as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, we've got the reactor here, which we'll probably fire up. I mean, it's going to get a little bit cold, isn't it? Let's fire it up now. I'm trying to collect 200 coal, because there's high scores and achievements and such things for doing so. But I'll use a little bit of that just to melt some of the snow round here, and then we can turn this. I mean, we've got the necessary ribbons already. Turn this into some kind of newfangled maypole. It maybe isn't the season for it necessarily, but who doesn't like a frolic around the maypole at a suitable moment? There you go. See, look, that's got them pretty excited already. Arguably, that's really helped them push towards the disco tent, and I'm sure that's going to cheer them up no end. Now then, we've got up here, we've got 55 coal, so we're using some of that up. We've got 90 wood, which is good, 30 some odd steel, and we've got 100 raw food, which we're going to have to make into food that isn't raw. So we'll go and get that built as quickly as possible, because well, you would, wouldn't you? Right, if we put the hunter's hut over here somewhere. I don't need to be able to see the hunter's hut. We can park it out here next to the streets. Now, everything you build goes next to streets like this, but you can build additional streets outward. In fact, we'll get one going now, because I want to save all of this prime real estate for my most important buildings. A bit of extra street will help people trot around a little bit more readily, and of course it provides me suitable areas for various conveniences. Actually, I'm going to go near here, because this is coal in a mining kind of a sense, which will make gaining more coal just a little bit easier. So we'll grab this, and in fact, no, we won't. We'll grab that and then head back in like that. 15 wood. It's going to take a little bit to get built, but that's okay. And I'll probably line all of this with merry old houses or tents that my people do like a good camp out, and that should ensure that everybody's got a piece of tarpaulin over their head, which is how they prefer to live, really. So here we are, it's day 2, and I've got a few people who may have overdone it last night and have reported in sick for work this morning. So I'm going to see if I can't make something for them that will just cheer them up a little bit. Medical station. It treats the most common ailments. I think that's probably a good idea. Let's keep that nice and warm. I don't want to burn through all of my resources too quickly, because I've got a lot of important things to build. But here we go. Let's get some tarps up so that the wilderness folk can have a roof over their heads, such as it is. Right, and then as long as they keep working on bringing in more wood, I'll bring them some more tents, and that will make them happy too, because they are a cheery bunch. They've got lots of hope. Look. And the disco end tent gets ever closer. Meanwhile, we're going to go to the Book of Laws, and we'll have a quick look around and see what the options are. So we could employ an emergency shift, which sends this sturdy man out to go and do some more sturdy work. Gets us closer to the disco tent, and it raises the disco tent as well. That's possibly a little bit too easy for me. The fighting arena will make people happy, where people who are very, very tough indeed and eager to prove it take off their shirts and they wrestle for your entertainment, which is lovely. I think we could make the food go fast further here, but to be honest, I'd rather feed everybody. Radical treatments. No. I think we'll do what we can to keep people alive, if at all possible. Bit more discontent and slightly more hope. Yeah, they won't. They'll remain a burden. That's the problem. I'm not interested in being a burden. 30% of the gravely ill will be treated in medical posts. Will be left as amputees. Well, that's nice, isn't it? As long as we get some of those blades that allow people to run quite quickly, I'm sure they won't mind. Maybe some kind of special mechanical hand that makes opening jars a doddle. Who knows? Now then, corpse disposal. Do we want a cemetery? No risk of disease? That's a good thing. Each burial will keep people from work for a few hours. That's a bad thing. Or corpse disposal. We have to dig a pit. Discontent will rise. Well, discontent seems to rise almost whatever I do, so I really don't mind that. As far as the young kiddies are concerned, do we want to build them some special rides to go on, or should we just let them go and play on the adult rides along with everybody else? I think that's what we'll do. Yeah, we'll get them helping out, because frankly, who doesn't want to go on the best roller coasters in the world? Beatrice says that they're not used to the big rides and they'll get hurt. They won't. I think we can trust them. They may be small, but I think they're eager to be good at this. So we're getting towards the end of the day on day 2, and we've made some progress. Look, we've got some of the tents built, and they've all got happy people in there now. They're looking forward to their first night living under a loosely fit tarpaulin, and that's going to be nice too. I've also we've got our hunter's hut open for those who like their field sports. We're going to send them out at night to hopefully hunt down a rabbit or two, maybe a deer, which they'll then mount on a wooden placard and hang from the generate a zone here, which will be amazing. And I'm in the process of making a Kentucky Fried Chicken concession for people to get their food from afterwards. It's almost poultry is the slogan that we're going to be working with, and hopefully that will cheer people up no end. And I've got a message about food and hunger. Look. Here we are. That's the day-night cycle. I know about that already. So here's the number of people who are hungry and or starving. But I provide the food. They choose to eat it or not. So the Hunter's Hut will provide 15 raw food a day. The Hot House, which I don't have yet, will provide 30 raw food per day. And then the Cookhouse will turn 2 food rations from every raw food unit. So you can see that actually I'm probably going to want a little bit more hunting with the huts in order to really get the most out of that. As far as the hunters are concerned, they're about to set off for work. So in fact they just did. So we bid them a fond farewell and a happy evening, lurking in the undergrowth in a hide. And hopefully that will all pan out nicely. Meanwhile, people from our convoy have been discovered. We should build a beacon and scout the Frostland to save as many of them as we can. Inviting some more guests to the park, I think, is a solidly great idea. We do still have 50 people who don't, 40 people, I do beg your pardon, who would very much like to spend more time in a tent. So I think we should probably rock and roll with that. I mean, obviously, putting people in tents is a good thing. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, and 4. There we go. Once that's done, I think that we're going to see a significant upswing in general cheeriness among the townsfolk. Right, let's put let's put a couple of engineers, and we'll have a school hand there to help clear the tables, maybe, in order to make the kitchen work as effectively as possible. I'm sure that young nipper there potentially learning a trade for life, no matter how long that life may be. Where are you off to there, friend? This is Nicholas Chetwood. He's got very low risk of getting ill, good lad, and he's off out hunting raccoons, I believe. He's got a penchant for a raccoon-style hat, and he believes that there's nothing quite as good as the real thing. So he'll be hoping to come back tomorrow morning with something delightful on his head, and possibly a raccoon. So the report from the medical centre shows that one child there has turned up with a skinned knee. Most unfortunate, but Eleanor, I'm sure, will be absolutely fine. Then we've got Beatrice, who is going to be better in about 16 hours. Just got a bit of the sniffles, and we just need to clear that up. Bit of night nurse, sort that right out. The good news is that it's the one with the codeine in as well, so she's going to be feeling particularly cheery. The other 3 there were all silly enough to try and use a rowboat as a sledge, and when it landed on them, they got quite the surprise. So all being well, they'll be back in the park by tomorrow, having a great time and enjoying their once a year break. So as a new day begins, we're going to have a look at trying to get a workshop built, so that we can get a beacon up there so that other people may see. I mean, it's basically advertising for the theme park, and the sooner we can get that done, the happier everyone's going to be. We got our medical tent, our hunters are out hunting, and the kitchen's going to come online soon. And my oh my, that's going to make everybody as cheerful as can be. So let's get that underway, shall we? Now, we do have a little bit of shortage of wood, so we might not be able to progress straight away. No, we need another 5 wood. So if the campers would be so good as to get on out there and start bringing that wood in, that would be simply terrific. What else we got here? Have I got anyone available? Got some children. Let's send an engineer supervising. Treat it like a scout camp effectively, and we'll go out with Brown Owl to go and get some wood from these crates. they're going to have a terrific little time, I'm sure. And there's the hooter to say that that the theme park is now open for another day, and off we jolly well go. And I'm sure we're going to have a terrific time while we're out there. Look at them all. I think it's heartening that they all want to stay so close together. I certainly would do, but it shows that they're bonding already, and that really does make a difference. The kitchen has now got its first offerings up there, some nuggets, and maybe a Zinger Tower burger are there for those eager to get stuck in to that kind of thing. Nice. So here we go, setting up the workshop now, or the fun factory, as I like to call it. We're going to get that deployed, and we'll get our expert workers in there to get that established as quickly as possible. That will allow us to develop a few new rides, and maybe even deploy an entertainer or two, in order to keep people really with a huge smile on their face. Okay, so looking through the research options that we've got, we're going to need to deploy some engineers here, but let's have a look. So the steam hub, when powered by the generator, these contraptions create additional smaller heat zones. Each steam hub consumes 3 coal an hour. Well, I mean, that sounds good and all, but I don't actually have that much coal coming in. Meanwhile, we've got little heaters. They consume, each raises the workplace temperature by 1 level and consumes 1 coal. Lovely. Oh, okay, apparently that's what I decided to research. Wasn't my original plan, but there it is. And look, there we are, we're growing something out of the top of the building there, and then shrinking it back down again afterwards, which is ace. We've got 6 people who are a little bit hungry, and some people who are a bit sick at the moment. Perhaps if they had themselves, just have a little something to eat, they'd feel a bit better. But I can't force them to. That's really on them. So after we've completed working on these heaters, I don't think it's necessary people come out here because they like the cold. Then we'll get to work on the beacon, which will allow us to go and rescue some more. Sorry, did I say rescue? To go and welcome some more campers into the fold, and that will make everything just that little bit more successful, I would say. So I've had a message in from a lady who appears to have been separated from her family along the way, and she's asking if we could possibly send out a minibus to go bring them to the park quickly, so they really don't miss out on the best possible time that they could have. And I'm more than happy to oblige. So we've got a nervous parent here suggesting that maybe her child shouldn't go on the adult rides today. And I can see her point of view. They can be a little bit nerve-wracking, but frankly, if we say that one small person doesn't have to go on the adult rides, then we're going to have to say the same for everything. So we can't make any exceptions. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. If I tell one person, no, it's okay, you can go and have this bouncy castle to go and play on instead. Before you know it, everybody wants to ride on the bouncy castle. Adults, children, all of them. They all do. We've got a couple of sick people, and oh dear, unfortunately we've kind of filled up the medical tent at the moment. It's also taken a turn for the very chilly indeed, which is something that we advertise in the brochure for the happy-go-lucky goers who are feeling like they really want to push themselves to the limit, and I hope this really delivers for them as well. We sound a special hooter to let them know that here we go, here comes the big excitement part, and hopefully they're going to getting a big kick out of that. So there we go. I mean, it doesn't come without its risks. When we turn the excitement up to maximum, some people just don't know how to hold back, and one of our park goers has reported that they've got a little bit of frostbite, and he's really quite poorly. We'll try and do something about that, or shall we? I will consider that. I'll consider doing something. Let's have a look. We could possibly, so we can revisit radical treatment, which does some amputating when necessary, which is lovely. Or we can go for sustaining life. Both of these make people a little bit more hopeful. I certainly would like my life sustaining. But beyond that, I'd like the idea of having some novelly limbed individuals. That's sure to be a word. Yes, we'll go with some radical treatment. It increases the hope, but also increases the disco tent as well. And well, yes, there's only so much you can do about such things. There we go. Our first piece of research has been completed. We can now deploy heaters left, right, and centre, and I'm certain that we'll get that going pretty quickly. Let's get the beacon underway, which is what I should have done to start with. Let's get that going now, because then we can bring some new park goers up here as well. Anyway, I've been Colonel Failure, and I hope to see you again soon at Failurwood Hills, Siberia. Please subscribe to this series to make sure you don't miss out on the next fun-filled, action-packed adventure, and fling a like this way if you too would like to toboggan here at Failurwood Hills, Siberia. I'll catch up with you very soon. Cheerio!